Hello everyone. So today we are gonna study about a new topic called web browser. So what is a web browser? A web browser are a program running on a client machine. Meaning it's just a normal program. Client machine means it's a machine which we are using, which we normally use. It can be a laptop, it can be a computer. Yeah, it's called a client machine because we receive from we are the client. We are the ones who are requesting and receiving things. That's why we are called the client machine. So browsers are a program running on our client machine. Okay, so what does it do? What does a browser do? It requests for documents from a server and it will provide the result back to the client machine. Okay, here, using a client machine, we request for documents which we need. For example, we search Google some topic, right? And when we search for it, we get a result. It's the same thing. We are requesting for a document from the server and we are receiving the result to the client machine. Okay, what is its purpose? What's the purpose of a web browser? The web browser is used to fetch information resources from the web and display it on user's device. So the main purpose of a web browser is for fetching information. That means resources. It can be anything. It can be information related to, it can be pictures, it can be scripts, it can be videos, it can be anything. It's so that's why you can call resources as in a whole thing. So web browser is used for fetching information from the web and displaying it on the user's device as in client machine. Okay, so another topic of a web browser. Web pages are always the web servers. You remember here we said we are fetching informations from the web, right? So web pages are always the web servers. We fetch information from web pages and we receive it on the client machine. So we call web pages are always the web servers. The browsers allow the users to browse the resources available on the server. So browsers, actually it means the same thing. You just have to know what the meaning is and you can write it in a very different ways. All of this means the same thing but a different explanation, different you know maybe different definitions. So, okay, so it really depends on the mark of how much you're writing. Yeah, that's around it. The browser allow the users, it's users, okay, not users, I'm sorry for that, allow the users to browse the resources available on the servers. Next, the client always initiates a communication when a client machine asks requests for information on the server and gets the result on the client machine. That means here we are asking, for example, if we are just talking hello and we say hello, the other person will say hi, yeah, how are you, and we'll reply. It's something like that. But here always the client is the one who initiates the communication. Okay, request for information stored on the server which then sends that information back to the client. Yeah, it's the same thing again. They are called browsers because they allow the users, oh here again, I'm sorry for that, allow the users to browse resources available on the server. Okay, they are called browsers because they allow the users, it's users, okay, allow the users to browse resources available on the server. They are just called browsers because they are allowed they allow users to search for information which is available on the server. Yeah, it's same thing. So another small piece of information, that the first browser was completely text based. It did not, it actually nowadays the web browsers are so much user friendly that when we see it, even a common man who's not a programmer, not a software a specialist or anything, just a common man can easily go through these web pages. He doesn't need prior information about software, etc. But the very first browsers was completely text based. It was not capable of displaying graphic information and graphic user interface, so it was very difficult for a normal person to fetch information on our very first browser. So in later, another browser was released, which is capable of displaying graphic user information, as in and even a normal person can use it. When we see the information, we can, when the information is displayed in a creative neat manner, even a normal person can read it, right? So the next browser which was released was called Mosaic. It was released in the early 1993. That was the very first browser with graphical user interface, and it was developed by National Center for Supercomputer Applications. It can be called NCSA. Gives convenient access to web for normal users as well. Okay, the next release, okay, when the first release was published, that version of Mosaic was like it was released in a manner it can only be run on Unix system while using X Windows systems. Okay, it was not applicable on Apple or Microsoft, anything like that. But in later 1993, the next version of Mosaic which was released was supported in Apple and Microsoft. Yeah, some mistake in the which was written there, I'm sorry for that. Okay, the later version which was released in the later 1993, so it's easier to remember the year. In the early 93 they released the first version of Mosaic, but it was only applicable on Unix, which can also be run using X Windows system. So the next version which supported Microsoft and Apple was released in the late 1993. Okay, next thing is the most commonly used browsers are Chrome, IE as in Internet Explorer, then Firefox, Opera, Apple Safari, etc. It can be anything, any browsers which is common, like used mostly in. Nowadays we have a lot of browsers, unlike in the early days we only had IE and Safari, I'm not sure. Anyways, so these are the commonly used browsers. Okay guys, so that's the end. Thank you.